Greater life. Look. I thought I'd have to remind people, since I'm doing Foolproof, conspiracy theory effect, the truth is out there by Sander van der Linden. If you want to know about the author, you need to go check him out because this is getting serious. If you paid attention to the live that I did earlier, honey, it's all connecting right on the 12/5. Look, Federal Register, I'm not going to go share the page. You could go to Federal Register real quick. You ain't got to be that long. And you'll see how everything line up. They making reparations. Well, they call it repatriations. It's the same thing. How you make a repatriation for the dead, huh? How you make it repatriation for the dead? How you make it repatriation for the dead? Look. Wait a minute. Look. All right, look. I went to Bing and I said, just so you won't have somebody talking about it's a difference between reparations and repatriations. Yeah, they be saying the word wrong. Okay? This isn't no conspiracy theory. And since they had so much about diabetes in the same 12/5 federal registration today, so they had the We Can Make the Dead Walk Flextronics program in the Federal Register today. They had the We About to Feed People Landfill Food. Oh, let me ask her, what is a landfill too? All right. We going to feed people landfill food. We are learning how to. So what I thought about is, y'all know how the landfill smells sweet. It's that nasty, sweet smell. No, see, not everybody passed by landfills or used to live by landfills and stuff like that. But for those who know, that dumpster, the Jersey people know, the fresh garbage has a different scent. Or the old garbage. I don't know. But people from Jersey, they know that scent. So I'm imagining when, because the word Sugar Valley was inside the Federal Register too. When China pulls they shipments of sugar in 2024, when China decides that that's it for sugar, remember, we don't have no sugar cane fields out here. And whatever they're going to finish off doing, it ain't going to be, people are going to go into sugar shock therapy. I told y'all. So that's why they got to have this insulin on hand. But not only that, it may not be so much as them even making landfill patties. It could be just enough to burn it down to make it sweet as a sweetener. Whatever, y'all need to find out what they're going to do with y'all food for those who are going to be left behind, who don't want to believe that Jesus is soon to come. You don't want to have love and light in your heart. You don't care, huh? You want to be gang, bang, bang, stick them and all that. You want to be smoke the dope, all the girls, be the whore, and everything else that doesn't fit and suit the kingdom of God. Evil thoughts and desires, lust, and all that good stuff. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, so like everybody had the time to party. You've had enough time to have fun. You should be out of your system. You need to be getting your house in order according to Ezra 10 and Revelations. Because, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I would have been all right. I've been eating pig all these years, huh? Yeah, but you got people that be like, you don't eat pork no more, and they all, huh? Elon is suggesting that everybody grow their own food, or he just put a question mark, because he looking at the Federal Register every day, and he's seen that come out. Oh, they on the move, huh? But I saw it way back then when China Thai said it. China Thai said, we gonna be eating landfill food. She's one of those that's gonna make sure that it is scrumptious, huh? Your batter on your Popeye's chicken gonna be scrumptious, huh? The filling inside your ice cake and ice cream, who knows, huh? By the time, what kind of serums they done came up with? Landfill syrup. It's not gonna be Lando Lakes. It's gonna be Lando Phil's butter. Let me ask her. Bing, what is a landfill? I wish she'd answer me out loud. See there, it ain't no denying it. This ain't no
place where waste materials are buried under layers of soil or other materials. Landfills are the oldest and most common form of waste disposal, but they can also cause environmental problems such as pollution, greenhouse gas emissions, and habitat loss. Landfills can also be used for waste management purposes, such as sorting, recycling, or generating energy from waste. According to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, the definition of landfill is an area built up by landfill, a system of trash and garbage disposal in which the waste is buried between layers of earth to build up low-lying land. Called also sanitary landfill. Landfill transitive verb. Synonyms: dump, sanitary landfill, tip, chiefly British. Some examples of landfill in a sentence are: using landfill to dispose of trash. Part of the city was built on landfill.
Okay, that's good enough. Where are we gonna get fresh, clean, fresh? She said, I could go on for weeks. I could go on for weeks about this, because this is one thing that they ain't stutter, huh? Not even in the Federal Register. They ain't even cover it up. They ain't hide it, huh? A backup plan. When Russia pulled out of the G20 summit and said, yep, I'm not helping feed the U.S., we not helping feed nobody, because they was part of the feed the world. Russia, Ukraine, and what you call it? Russia, I believe, said, no, ain't nowhere in the world we feeding our people, grinding them up and sending them in boxes. We not with that. I believe that with all my heart. That's how it went down. And they had to have a backup plan. They said, when things get hard, what are we going to do? And some China Thai and her crew said, hey, we can recycle. Hey, y'all. Federal Register. I could go on and on. I don't care if I'm about over here by myself. Somebody else gonna get it. And then they doing reparations for the grave the graves of the natives of Gainesville, Cambridge, but that's the white men's. Kansas, Gainesville again. That's a shame. I told y'all, I said, you think they're going to give y'all reparations? They're going to cover it up and make it seem like you're getting reparations. But what they going to say is just what Kamala Harris said. We have 1 in every 4, the ones who claim that blackness, we got 1 in 4 that's going to be going over to Africa in the time, because this land don't belong to you. This land belong to all these graves we giving reparations to. Repatriations. Yeah, you don't believe me? And when I remember one time in the chat, what's his name? Cannon Dummy, I think, was trying to explain to me the difference between reparations and repatriations. And I was like, that's just the same word. Some people just don't know how to pronounce it. But I here. I said big. Explain repatriation. She went straight in. Repatriation is the active process of restoring or returning someone or something to the country, origin, or allegiance of its citizenship. It can apply to various situations, such as repatriation, foreign currency. This means converting foreign currency into the currency of one's own country. For example, if you have a US dollar and you want to repatriate them to your country of France, you would exchange them for euros at a bank for currency exchange. They exchanging the currency. The dead is about to be repatriated. Repatriation prisoners of war. This means returning prisoners of war to their home country after a conflict has ended. For example, after Vietnam War, the U.S. and Vietnam agreed to repatriate their prisoners of war as a part of peace agreement. Repatriating human remains and cultural artifacts. There you go. This is the part right here. This means returning human remains and cultural artifacts to their original communities or countries of origin. For example, the NAGPRA, Native American Graves Protection Reparation Act, is a U.S. law that requires federal agencies and museums to return the human remains back to their spots. Right now, the Indians and all are demanding that they remains, because they even know the history and the stories and revelation. We want all our bones, dry bones, to be right back to where they belong. Reparations, it's repatriation, can have various benefits and challenges depending on the context of the parties involved. Some possible benefits. Repatriation can restore dignity and justice to the people and groups who have been wronged or exploited by others. For example, repatriating looted antiquities can help preserve the cultural heritage and identity of the original owners. Repatriation can foster reconciliation and cooperation between countries and communities that have been in conflict or dispute. For example, repatriation of prisoners of war can help ease tensions and build trust between former enemies. So it goes on and on and on, but I think it is some kawiki dicky. It is some kawiki dicky that the government about to work hard to make sure all these native graves get reparations, repatriations. Y'all gonna go for that, huh? I ain't worried about it, I'm gonna be repatriated to the citizen as a citizen of the kingdom of God, That's the only reparations I need, repatriations to the kingdom of heaven. Mm-hmm. Hold up. Hold up 1 second. Let me play my intro for a second. All right. So I ain't gonna rub that in no more. I'm gonna leave that for Mr. Sander Van der Linden to figure it out. I'm gonna get ready to start reading. That's really what I came on this live about. But I'm gonna talk about it, boy. I'm gonna talk about it. They worried about meats. China Thai said, and it's confirmed in the Federal Register, they're about to recycle organic and everything that's in the landfills for feeding. Ooh, Lord. It is definitely time for me to go on a diet, huh? I'm going to lose weight easy, huh? I'm going to lose weight easy. Ain't nowhere in the world, huh? They done started the process. They must have got the final Who did the taste testing? It had to be over there in California. California, no doubt about it. What y'all over there eating? Because China Ty said she's over there preparing the dinner plates with the landfill food. Huh? This ain't no conspiracy theory, is it? Huh? Because it's in the Federal Register and they said it loud and clear. Like I said, I didn't get that clip from anywhere but the White House. I didn't go and get that from no other Facebook developer or somebody who went and tweaked it or nothing like that. That came straight from White House News. She said landfill food. Conspiracy effect. The truth is out there. Chapter 3. Mulder. The truth is out there. But so are lies. Dana Scully. The X-Files. When I was a kid, I absolutely loved the X-Files. FBI special agents Mulder and Scully exposing vast government conspiracies about aliens and cover-ups, noticing hidden patterns everywhere. But although Mulder was motivated by his search, remember the infamous phrase, "I want to believe." He did at least attempt to critically appraise evidence, and he updated his theories every now and then. When Scully challenged him about the intensity with which he endorsed conspiratorial beliefs. Although many of us might marginally entertain some alien conspiracies between 11 and 44% to be precise, what about a more extreme proposition such as the idea that the earth is flat? Flat earthers believe that the earth is shaped more like a plane or disc, not round, but flat like a pancake. There is even an official annual gathering known as Flat Earth International Conference. I first heard about it through a colleague who attended, or rather infiltrated, the event as a neutral scholarly observer to study the mind of the flat earther. Ew. The popular 2018 Netflix documentary Behind the Curve followed key figures in the flat earth movement. I think I remember that one, huh? That's the one that they mentioned. What's his name? What's his sand cheesy name, huh? They sure did. I remember that. I said, yeah, he is all the way in there. They mentioned his name on Netflix. Behind the Curve followed key figures in flat earth movement. One of my favorite moments is when Bob Noddle, host of the popular Flat Earth YouTube channel, walks the viewer through a basic scientific experiment using a gyroscope to help determine the Earth's orientation. If the Earth is indeed round and rotates once every 24 hours, there should be about 15-degree drift in the gyroscope every hour. Unsurprisingly, that's what Noddle's gyroscope found. Directionally motivated reasoning kicks in when we start with the conclusion of what we want to be true and then work backwards to arrive at the conclusion. Noddle's response was telling. Now, obviously, we were taken aback by that. Wow, that's kind of a problem. We obviously were not willing to accept that. And so we started looking for ways to disprove it was actually registering the motion of the earth. This is textbook motivated reasoning. Bob Noddle, or Nodal, I don't know who he is, has been researching conspiracies for over 20 years and is an active member of the Truther community. He is motivated as it gets. As one journalist puts it, perhaps flat earth is the ultimate conspiracy. a rejection of the very ground we walk on. So, how many people subscribe to the flat earth theory? According to YouGov, about 2% of Americans say that the earth is flat. That is a small, that may sound small, and it is absolute, and it is in absolute terms, but out of 327 million citizens, that's still 6.5 million people. And among them 6.5 million people are celebrities such as U.S. rapper Bobby Ray Simmons Jr., also known professionally as B.O.B. You may remember his hit single, Nothing on You, featuring Bruno Mars. In January 2016, he took to Twitter, wondering why the horizon in his Instagram pictures always looks flat rather than curved. Astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson quickly joined the conversation to answer the question. Small sections of large curved surfaces always look flat to little creatures that crawl upon it. And by the way, this is called gravity. The tiff quickly escalated into a rap battle between B.O.B. releasing a diss track called Flat Line, to which Tyson responded with his own rap record by his nephew, Stephen Tyson, entitled Flat to Fat. Despite Tyson's best efforts to debunk B.O.B., B.O.B. joined the Flat Earth Society later that year. What? Although a remarkable exchange arguing over specific facts is often not the most effective way to debunk conspiracy theory, but more on that later. People who are so B.O.B. transitioned. People who are so deeply motivated to hold a certain view that will deflect away from the evidence, like Nodal and B.O.B., have typically been few and far between. It's a reflection of the larger population. Most people are not extreme, at least not yet. But conspiracy theories are no longer reserved for those operating on fringes of society. A 2014 study revealed that over 50% of Americans endorse at least one type of conspiracy theory. And in 2021, a poll from the Washington-based Public Religion Research Institute found that 15% of Americans believe in the QAnon's conspiracy. The bizarre idea that the government, media, financial worlds of the U.S. are controlled by a group of Satan-worshiping pedophiles who run a global child sex trafficking operation. The notion that climate change is a hoax or that COVID-19 is a bioweapon engineered by the military lab in Wuhan are receiving even more worrying degree of endorsement from large segments of population, up to a third of those surveyed in some countries. It's therefore worth examining in close detail what's so attractive and dangerous about the psychology of conspiratorial thinking. The conspiratorial worldview. In January 2019, Bucky Wolf, a 26-year-old man from Seattle, was accused of shoving a 4-foot-long sword straight through his brother's head. According to the police, he said that he'd killed his brother because he thought he was a shape-shifting lizard. Wolf was charged with murder, but ultimately acquitted by reason of insanity. The reptilian conspiracy theory was popularized by English and former sports broadcaster David Icke. The basic idea is that the extraterrestrial species of reptile humanoids took control of our planet a long time ago. Their genetic descendants are Babylonian Brotherhood or Illuminati, who currently manipulate the world events and keep humans fearful. According to Icke, the reptilian bloodline includes Rockefellers, Rothschilds, and British royal family, and many other elites. They drink blood, engage in child sacrifice rituals, and change their shape. Although the reptilian conspiracy theory may seem over the top All conspiracy theories have something in common. They are characterized by persistent beliefs about secret and powerful forces which are operating behind the scenes to implement some sinister agenda. I have studied the psychology of conspiracy theories for many years because they are fascinating. They are a fascinating example of an evidence resistant worldview. No matter how many scientific facts Tyson threw at BOB, he didn't change his mind. Of course, it's possible that a group of people with bad intentions can come together and concoct a secret plan to conspire against a potential target. That's not the issue. It is not rational per se to think that some people are conspiring against you if you base your beliefs on good evidence. We should also hold those in power accountable by demanding transparency. Yes. Healthy skepticism is a core value of the scientific enterprise. So then, what exactly is the problem with conspiracy theories? There are three keys in which conspiracies deviate from scientific theories. The first and most crucial point is that conspiratorial worldview is not characterized by belief in a single conspiracy. It's what we call monological belief system, where belief in one conspiracy serves as evidence for another. For example, what's of interest is not necessarily Wolf's belief in lizard conspiracy per se, but the fact that Wolf also espoused several other conspiracy theories. He was a known member of the Proud Boys, a far-right neo-fascist male organization that promotes political violence based on conspiratorial narratives that Western culture is under siege. Wolf was also an avid QAnon supporter. Similarly, BOB doesn't just think the earth is flat, he also believes that the moon landing was fake and that the government is secretly cloning celebrities. The key point is that people can become fully enthralled by the conspiratorial worldview. The second issue is that mathematically, many conspiracy theories are completely implausible due to the sheer number of people involved who all need to work together to keep the conspiracy a secret. Model estimates from physicist David Grimes suggest, based on known scandals, that for conspiracies which involve more than 1,000 individuals, intrinsic failure would be imminent. For example, if NASA had faked the moon landing, it would have required over 400,000 employees to have been complicit in the conspiracy. Even the most generous model assumptions suggest that at this rate, the conspiracy would have easily broken down within a few years. In short, many people in short, many popular conspiracy in short, many popular conspiracy theories are thus completely implausible. Thirdly, conspiracy theories are also not really theories. At their core, they incorporate the most fundamental motivated reasoning principle. They start out with a premise. For example, there must be an individual or entity, often government or evil corporation, intentionally plotting a nefarious scheme, and it's up to the truth seeker to uncover the evidence of the conspiracy. This is also known as the fundamental attribution error. We mistakenly attribute evil intent to random coincidences. In addition, contrary to scientific theories, beliefs are not updated in light of new evidence, which might cast serious doubt on the conspiracy. Instead, this conforming evidence is seen as a further attempt to cover up the conspiracy as the premise is already known. Someone is plotting something. For this very reason, it is difficult to argue with a conspiracy theorist. Any attempt to discredit the conspiracy is just more evidence that the conspiracy theory must be real. Conspiracy theories are therefore at the extreme end of our spectrum. They are far beyond simple motivated reasoning. Richard Hofstadter, an American historian, captured the essence of conspiratorial worldview well in his 1964 essay on the topic. Let us now abstract the basic elements in the paranoid style. The central image is that of vast and sinister conspiracy, a gigantic and yet subtle machinery of influence set in motion to undermine and destroy a way of life. In a series of studies, my colleagues and I wanted to test Hofstadter's observation, examine the link between political ideology and belief in conspiracy theories. What we found is that two key factors shape the way in which political ideology influences people's tendency to engage in conspiratorial thinking: paranoia and distrust of officialdom. We couldn't exactly disentangle whether these two variables cause conspiratorial thinking or whether people who already believe in conspiracy theories become more paranoid and distrustful over time. But one thing is clear: there are central components of the conspiratorial worldview. It's important to realize that conspiracy theories fulfill at least three basic psychological needs. The first is epistemological. I would dare not say his name. Epistemological, of the desire to make sense of the world around us. Conspiracy theories offer simple, casual explanations for what otherwise seem to be chaotic and random events. It's much easier to believe that global warming is a hoax, a simple explanation, than to engage with scientific predictions about its impact and consequences. But conspiracy theories also have a way of making people feel unique and in the know, separating them from regular sheeples. The second function of conspiracies is to offer existential relief. People worry about the uncertain nature of our existence, and so conspiracy theories establish a sense of agency and control over the narrative of world events. Lastly, conspiracy theories serve basic relational needs. They give people who feel marginalized in society an opportunity to affiliate and belong to a community with a common cause. Kamikaze. Kamikaze. Because belief in conspiracy theories is associated with a host of closely related psychological motives, such as perceived control, paranoid ideation, politics, magical thinking, and superstition. The conspiratorial worldview is a fascinating beast. At a fundamental level, conspiratorial worldviews are self-sustaining, quasi-religious systems. Karen Douglas, professor of social psychology at Kent University, and her colleagues conducted a clever experiment in which they asked students whether they believed in several conspiracy theories, some of which they were clearly mutually inconsistent. For example, agreement with the conspiracy that Diana, Prince of Wales, was murdered in Paris in 1997 was related to the belief in the conspiracy that she faked her own death. Similarly, the belief that Osama bin Laden was already dead when U.S. Special Forces arrived at his Abbottabad compound in 2011 correlated with the belief in the clearly contradictory conspiracy that he is still alive. Quasi became they are not institutionalized. Quasi because they are not institutionalized. Okay, I got it. Quasi religious systems. Quasi means because they are not institutionalized. My colleagues and I found similar results. In one study, we discovered that a belief in the conspiracy theory that COVID 19 was bioengineered in a lab in Wuhan was linked to an entirely different conspiracy that 5G phone masts are responsible for the virus. And both were correlated with the conspiracy theory that COVID 19 is part of a global plot to force vaccinations on people. Other researchers found that you get the same network of relationships with belief in completely made up conspiracy theories. In other words, if people believe in several existing conspiracy theories and you offer up an additional, unrelated fictional conspiracy theory, they will often welcome that one too. What could possibly explain this rather bizarre observation? The cognitive error that begins that being that's mm-mm. The cognitive error that's being committed here is called the conjunction fallacy. Psychologists Daniel K. Hammond and Amos Tversky first discovered this error in another context. They presented a scenario to participants which included the description of Linda. Linda is a 31-year-old woman, single, outspoken, and very intelligent. She majored in philosophy. As a student, she was deeply concerned with issues of discrimination and social justice and also participated in anti-nuclear demonstrations. Now, which of the following opinions are more likely or options are more likely? Linda is a bank teller or cashier, and Linda is a bank teller and active in the feminist movement. The majority of people tend to say B because the option sounds more representative of Linda. However, if we follow the rules of probability, the probability is a single constituent event, and I knew it, that she is a bank teller is equal to or higher than the probability of the two events occurring together in conjunction. That Linda is a bank teller and a feminist. After all, being a feminist bank teller is a special subset of all regular bank tellers. You can see this clearly when we do the maths. Let's say Linda is a bank teller with a probability of 0.05% and a feminist, which is probability of 0.99%. According to the rules of probability, the likelihood that Linda is both a bank teller and a feminist is given by the product of the two probabilities, or 0.001, that is 0.05 times 0.99, which is necessarily lower than the probability of each event considered on its own. Researchers at the University of Graz in Austria presented people with a very similar puzzle in the context of conspiracy theories. For example, they would mention that Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation fights against COVID-19, and then ask people which claim is more likely. A, the Gates Foundation strive for high vaccination rates, or the Gates Foundation strive for high vaccination rates and thus wants to increase its wealth. Ooh, it turns out that people are more likely to endorse a range of conspiracy theories made this type of conjunction error more often than people who are less likely to believe in conspiracy theories. What I didn't mention is that these rules of probability assume that the events in the question are independent of one another, meaning that the one event, vaccinating people, doesn't impact the other, generating income. This makes sense as a fact checker have found that the Gates Foundation is a nonprofit organization that does not hold any stock in pharmaceutical companies that sell COVID-19 vaccines. And thus, it does not stand to profit. The only way you could get around this error is if you assume that the events are not independent. It's all connected. Put another way, belief in QAnon, the lizard politician conspiracies, should be independent unless you assume that there is a larger conspiracy at play with that connects both events. A consequence of this type of reasoning is that the specifics of the conspiracy doesn't matter. As long as the explanation is sufficiently conspiratorial in nature, it still provides a sense of global, higher order coherence. Remember, the point is that some evil group is plotting something somewhere. As long as there's potential for superior ordinate conspiracy, then espousing contradictory beliefs is still consistent with the underlying worldview, even when lower order explanations don't always add up. That's why Neil deGrasse Tyson was fighting an uphill battle. Any inconsistencies in BOB's beliefs were justified by larger suspicions that NASA was hiding the truth. There is no psychological cure that I know of that unravels or counteracts the fully developed conspiratorial worldview, and it's highly contagious. In a key experiment after which this chapter takes its title, I exposed over 300 regular people, not conspiracy theorists, to a 2-minute video clip of a conspiracy movie about global warming, the Great Global Warming Swindle. Shockingly, I found that even after brief exposure compared to the various control videos, people were significantly less likely to support the scientific evidence on climate change and much less willing to sign a petition to help stop global warming. People also tend to be less civically minded in general after exposure, as indicated by the reduced willingness to want to volunteer and donate to charities in the near future. I describe this as a conspiracy effect. Even just brief exposure to this dangerous form of thinking decreases science acceptance and civic engagement. The first step to countering the conspiracy effect is to be able to identify it. Oh boy. The 7 Traits of Conspiratorial Thinking. On March 30th, 2014, I received an email from Alan Tarica. He had been reading my work on psychology of conspiracy theories and decided to send me a link to his detailed website uncovering patterns of vast conspiracy to conceal or ignore the fact that Shakespeare's famous sonnets were written by someone else. Who might this be? According to Tarica, all signs point towards Earl of Oxford. In several conversations, Alan tried to convince me that when you read the sonnets, from end to beginning, starting with the last poem and working your way back to the first poem, hidden truths are revealed. Most of my colleagues don't typically respond to such emails, but I often feel a strong pull, like a deep desire to learn more about what exactly motivates the belief in these type of conspiracy theories. After a few emails, I sent Alan Tarica a paper about how illusory pattern perception is linked to belief in conspiracy theories. After I Googled his name and discovered that Tariq is an anagram for Art CIA, I quickly realized that he had been obsessively emailing and attacking scholars across the board. I told him that this was not my area of expertise, but I am sure that the truth is out there. One of his emails read to me as follows: "Thanks for the response, but really have no wonder if you find the behavior of your fellow academics even remotely acceptable. Of course, the truth is out there, but without a conversation, how are we supposed to get at it? I can assure you that I will make this ultimately about the contemptible behavior of those that should be able to make informed comments. I expect far greater participation from everyone despite their discipline. But if you do nothing else, please pass that along. All the best, Alan. The truth is out there, but that wasn't enough for Alan. He kept emailing. His last email read to me, "Why don't you try to refute my conspiracy theory, you useless and outrageous a-hole?" It may be that Alan feels marginalized. His views are not being heard, and the scientific community is ignoring him. Oh, poor Alan. I can see you email me. I'll tell you how to get over it, huh? What Alan doesn't know is that his behavior fits exactly with what we found in one of the latest studies, an investigation into the language of conspiracy. Most studies in the field of research just ask regular people questions about the extent to which they endorse a myriad of conspiracy theories. But we wanted to do something novel, to examine the language used by actual conspiracy theorists, to see if there are particular patterns or psycholinguistic features that make conspiracy theorists distinct in the way that they express themselves online. By analyzing the language used in hundreds of thousands of tweets from the most popular conspiracy theorists on Twitter, we found that they express much more negative emotions, particularly anger, compared to their popular science counterparts. They also swear and talk much more about other groups and power structures, all of which reflect the Allen's language. He's angry, he's swearing at others, he's dismantling what he perceives as unfair power structures. But Allen isn't the only conspiracy theorist who has harassed me or my colleagues over the years. For example, my close colleague, Stephen Lewandowski, professor of cognitive science, another one of his alter egos, professor of cognitive science at the University of Bristol, and his co-authors wrote an article in which they analyzed conspiratorial discussion in the blogosphere about one of their past papers on the psychology of conspiracy theories. Their paper had the wonderfully apt title, Recursive Fury, conspiracist ideation of the blogosphere. In response to the research of the conspiracist ideation, Lewandowski found that many of the online arguments against research of his first paper were also highly conspiratorial in nature. For example, skeptics would accuse him of having a hidden agenda that involved a deliberate attempt to silence a debate. The researchers identified several recurring themes, which together with their own research seem to indicate that, in addition to linguistic markers, conspiratorial reasoning has a very predictable signature. If you start examining conspiracy theories that have previously gone viral, you will notice recurring commonalities in their narrative. For example, conspiracy theories mostly assume evil and nefarious intentions. The story typically is not that a group of people are colluding in secret to throw you a surprise birthday party. There are virtually no positive conspiracy theories. To help people spot conspiracy effect in everyday life, my colleagues Stephen Lewandowski, John Cook, Ulrich Ecker, and I like to use a guideline that ties everything we've just learned about the conspiratorial worldview together into a 7 traits of conspiratorial thinking using CONSPIRE as an acronym, which stands for contradictory, overriding suspicion, nefarious intent, something must be wrong, persecuted victim, immunity to evidence, and reinterpreting randomness. We can see each of these traits at play in the now infamous virtual conspiracy theory video, Plandemic, the hidden agenda behind COVID-19. The film premiered on YouTube on the 4th of May, 2020, and it featured interview with discredited medical researcher Judy Mikovits, who advances all sorts of conspiratorial claims about the pandemic, including that the virus was bioengineered, and the false notion wearing a mask literally activates your own virus. The video garnered millions of views in 2 days. It was online before YouTube officially took it down. Studies show that exposure to the video damaged public support for vaccination programs. It's the conspiracy effect in action, where even brief exposures to conspiracy theories can harm public debate. Plandemic exhibits all classic conspire traits. First, conspiracy theories are nearly always characterized by internal contradictions. In the plandemic narrative, the logical inconsistencies emerge quickly as film advances two false origin stories at the same time. The first describes COVID-19 as having been bioengineered in the lab in Wuhan, whilst he repeated that about 5 times. The second explanation comes from the fact that everyone apparently already had the virus from earlier vaccinations, and that by wearing masks, they were activating it. Which is it? This is clearly contradictory. Next, by their very nature, conspiracy theories are deeply wary of official narrative. An overriding suspicion is advanced in plandemic that casts doubt on mainstream science and just about anyone who is involved in official explanation, including the World Health Organization and the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, question everything. But the conspirators in question must also have sinister intentions. Nefarious intent is an explicit theme that characterizes most conspiracy theories and much of the pandemic. For example, according to the film, evil scientists, including Anthony Fauci, who leads the White House's COVID-19 task force, apparently created a pandemic for profit, and by extension, killing hundreds and thousands of people in the process. When challenged, conspiracy theorists have no problem abandoning specific aspects of their theory, yet something must be wrong, which fits with the possibility that even a larger conspiracy that could explain the inconsistency. For example, when the pandemic filmmaker Mickey Willis was asked if he honestly believed that COVID-19 was engineered for profit, he replied, "I have no idea. All he knows is that something is not right." A good conspiracy theory must also feature a persecuted victim. In particular, conspiracy theorists have a tendency to view themselves as marginalized victims of conspiracy concocted by powerful elites. Allen is the victim of powerful cabal of humanities scholars protecting the false origin of Shakespeare's sonnets. In the plandemic video, the creators even go as far as suggesting that the whole world had fallen victim to a vast web of deception that is the COVID-19 pandemic. If you think about it, if someone is plotting to do harm, then there must be a potential victim as well. The two often go hand in hand. Unfortunately, conspiracy theorists are often entirely immune to evidence. I know I said earlier that almost nobody is immune to evidence, but conspiracy theorists might just be an exception. When you ask, why is there no proof of conspiracy? They will usually say that's because the conspirators do such a good job of covering it up. What's more challenging, the conspiracy is just further evidence that you must all of it. Part of it all. Oh, you must be part of it all. What's more challenging is conspiracy is just further evidence that you must be part of it all. The last trait involves illusory pattern perception. reinterpreting random events and imbuing them with substantive meaning. I sent Alan Tarika the article on the link between illusory pattern perception and conspiratorial thinking because I honestly felt he was seeing patterns in the sonnets or the sonnets where there are none. The pandemic video is no different. It mentions in a suggestive tone that the U.S. National Institutes of Health funded the Wuhan Institute of Virology in China. Coincidence? Yes, in fact, is. It is well known that the National Institute of Health funds many labs around the world. The 5G conspiracy displays a very familiar tendency, where the coronavirus hotspots and the location of 5G masts are suddenly casually connected as part of a sinister plot. Even though a third factor can readily explain the increased presence of both phone mass and disease outbreaks, population density. You can even see the same patterns in action when you ask people to make up a conspiracy theories on the spot. In our Conspire study, we asked people in the U.S. state of Georgia to come up with their own conspiracy theories about the increase of COVID-19 cases following the relaxation of lockdown measures in May of 2020. Conspiracies range from the government elite wants to kill as many people as possible, nefarious intention, to the Democrats have invented coronavirus so that they can eliminate wealthy older voters, persecuted victims. The reason why conspiracy theories spread so easily is because they are psychologically attractive. They offer simple explanations for complex events. They restore a sense of agency and control in the world increasingly filled with chaos and uncertainty. Demand for the kind of narratives that Noddle, B.O.B., Tariq, and Mikovits have to offer it is increasing. Importantly, what's so dangerous about this is that once the conspiracy effect takes hold, it won't let go. It latches on like a real virus and reproduces fast and efficiently. Before you know it, you no longer believe in one conspiracy theory, but two or three, and you start to see a larger picture. It's all connected. Moreover, we don't need the whole population operating on extreme side of the post-truth danger spectrum in order to undermine the status of the facts in democracy. This is some common misperception. Many influential elections are decided on narrow margins. Fake news just needs to dupe a few people. Study after study has shown that people who spread the most fake news are highly politically active. They're extreme. They're motivated. They're super spreaders. They are not most people. But what if conspiracy theories are becoming more common? In May 2022, I was asked this question by members of the Subcommittee on Intelligence and Counterterrorism of the U.S. Congress House of Representatives. I told them that we know that extremist organizations are more likely to use conspiratorial narratives in their writings to attract new followers, and that more studies are documenting a link between belief in conspiracy theories and endorsement in political violence. But is that true that more people, more than ever, are embracing them? In 2021, about 20% of those polled over 20 countries think that a single group of people control world events. However, such information by itself doesn't tell us whether that is high or low, at least historically speaking. Unfortunately, it's a difficult question to answer, as very little global trend data is available. We have only reliable, but often not consistently tracked public belief in the conspiracy theories for a few decades. A colleague of mine, Joseph Usiniski, professor of political science at University of Miami, used to visit me in Cambridge with his summer school students to discuss the latest research on conspiracy theories. He often notes that every few years the media declares another golden age of conspiracy. Joe is skeptical. After all, did conspiracy theories not lead to people burn witches at the stake before the cahoots with Satan, or led the persecution of millions of Jews during the Second World War? Are things really worse now? He makes a valid point. In one study, Joe examined public belief in about 37 conspiracy theories between 1966 and 2020, and finds that while the endorsement of some conspiracy theories has increased, belief in others has decreased or remained fairly stable over time. Joe has an interesting theory, though, namely, the conspiracy theories are for losers. Namely, that conspiracy theories are for losers. What he means is that those out of political power are typically more likely to espouse conspiracy theories about those in power. And indeed, empirical research shows, or empirical research across many countries shows support for the idea that conspiratorial thinking, on average, is higher for supporters of political parties who are currently not in power, especially on the far right. Several scholars, including myself, think that although this is definitely a piece of the puzzle, the trend is much broader, so that the endorsement of conspiracy theories seem to influence more generally as a function of societal and political unrest. For example, Gallup has been tracking the JFK assassination conspiracy since 1963, when it found that about 52% of people believed in a conspiracy that others were involved. This number rose to about 81% during most of the 1990s, when the popular Oliver Stone film JFK was released, before dropping off again to 61% in 2011. A recent Cambridge YouGov poll surveyed people about the same conspiracy theories for 3 consecutive years. For example, at the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, anti-vaccination conspiracies were endorsed by 13% of the population in the United States, whereas the number jumped to a concerning 33% in 2020, when coverage was about the COVID-19 vaccine started to take off. The basic theory is that whenever we feel uncertain and powerless due to global crisis or socio-political turmoil, people are more likely to turn to conspiracy theories for psychological comfort and reassurance. These narratives then become part of history through social and cultural transmission. If this is correct, when the massive global challenges we're facing represent the perfect breeding ground for conspiracy theories. In fact, what is clear is that the internet and social media have allowed the social transmission of conspiracy theories to flourish, enter the mainstream, and spread in new and unprecedented ways. When asked during an interview on Hot Ones, the YouTube show that where celebrities answered questions while eating increasingly spicy chicken wings, whether more and more people believe in conspiracy theories, Neil deGrasse Tyson replied, "I think that the number of people may be the same over time. They just now can write a blog that the whole world has access to via a search engine." Although the hot sauce is clearly getting to him, Neil's observation is spot on. Many more conspiracy theories are now available. They can spread much more faster and reach larger audiences now more than ever. Oh, more than before. Than ever before. For example, he uses a lot of for examples. For example, the conspiracy theory in Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022 to take down secret U.S.-funded biological warfare labs started out as a fringe theory announced by the Kremlin. but was subsequently amplified by China's foreign minister and then gained popularity within the United States after Fox News host Tucker Carlson repeated the misinformation on his show. Similarly, conspiracy theories that start in the United States, such as those espoused by in pandemic video, can garner millions of views and make their way around the world via the internet in a matter of days. The rise of digital media has ensured everyone can follow or fall prey to the conspiracy effect. And remember, conspire is contradictory, overriding suspicion, nefarious intent, something must be wrong, persecuted victim, immune evidence, and reinterpreting randomness. Conspire. And this is the end of the chapter. Foolproof Fake News Antigen 3. Identify and resist the 7 traits of conspiratorial thinking. Conspiracy theories are psychologically appealing because they offer certain and simple explanations of otherwise seemingly random and complex events and restore a false sense of control. Conspiracy theories are highly contagious. Their effects rub off on people even after a single exposure. Identifying them is the first step to building resistance. You can use conspire to test your advantage. Look out for contradictory logic, overriding suspicion, nefarious intentions, something must be wrong, persecuted victim, immune to evidence, and reinterpreting random events into a connected story. The end of chapter 3. I didn't do much interjecting in reading this chapter because I did all my interjecting at the beginning where they somehow, some way will say that landfill feeding us landfill food is a conspiracy theory when in fact it is on the government site, it is in the Federal Register, and Miss China Tai said it, and no one told her, came up and said, no, you're wrong, huh? And here we are, December 5th, 2023. Federal Register is saying to the people, you have until a certain date to let us know you don't want to eat landfill food. But China Tai and her core is working on it. They have taste testers over in California. How many of you is smoking on budded up landfill food? You going through the malls and just tasting whatever. Taste this. We got it on a tray for you. Taste this. Taste that. Landfill food. That's why I didn't do much interjecting. I'm beginning to love reading books because I do so much fact checking. I said, I'm not going to believe what somebody says in a video. I'm going to go check it out for myself. The next chapter is chapter 4. Let's see if it's going to be something that I'm going to want to read tomorrow after I do my work. Let me see what he got going on here. Robert De Niro. Oh, I love me some Robert De Niro. I love some Robert. So you know I'm going to be ready to read this. See, I didn't have much interjecting in chapter 3 because B.O.B., you know, I like B.O.B. I did. At one point, I used to listen to B.O.B. This was before I went to truck driving school. So this was 2015. I would listen to him every day. Listen to his music till I had it memorized, Oh, yeah. His conscious music. And then, I don't know. I just felt like he fell off somewhere. I didn't even know he was a flat earther. I just knew he fell off somewhere. I was like, oh, he fell off of the flat earth. Because if it's flat, it's somewhere you're going to fall off if you keep on walking. So anyways, and then Neil deGrasse, y'all know I used to go in on Neil deGrasse. Neil deGrasse ass. So, yeah, good. I thought he was going to talk more and more about Mulder and Scully. But he didn't. So, enough of that. Conspire, nefarious acts, and all that. Nefarious intents. Chapter 4 is going to be about why the virus won't leave your mind. No, why the virus won't leave your mind, Sandra Van der Linden. They continue to influence misinformation. I bet you he got jabbed up. You need to answer the question. I'm going to email you. I'm going to find out where to email you at, Sandra Van der Linden. And I want to know, did you get vaccinated, Oh, foolproof. You a roof. Sandra Van der Linden. That is the end. I'm done for the day. I need to go ahead and get me some rest to be nice and fully restored for tomorrow. King Ellis, King Perry, ELL. Greater Light, I appreciate you being over here. Please, again, check out, go to the live from earlier, or go to your Federal Register and look it up real quick. I know it's something you probably don't do, but just let everybody know this ain't no fake news. This ain't no conspiracy theory. They about to get the landfills emptied out to feed people from the landfills. Because all this snow and stuff that's about to come, I told people here, I've been saying that. I even told my best friend in North Carolina, I told her, I said, honey, the snow going to be different this year. And she said, yeah, okay. And I told people, I said, Thomasville, y'all going to get to see snow. I ain't talking about no little flurry of snow. You going to get to see snow. As a matter of fact, just as how long ago, it might have been 70 years. I told that to my pastor, and this is when he made the sickling cycling joke. And when he said that, my mind went on the sickle, and that's how I connected Lion and Judah because of him saying that phrase that day. I said 70 years it's been probably that they had snow in Miami. I haven't looked up the date when it snowed in Miami. And my grandmother remember one time that there was a light snow in Bahamas. So are we at the sickling cycling? But this time the sickling cycling is the end of the beginning. Oh, we'll see. So if all the land and food and resources, this is what they were preparing for, talking about the Cold War. Yes, no. And if at last resort, he didn't have food, where would we get the food from? The landfills, yuck. Check out your Federal Register today, 12/5, and see where the Native American dead are getting reparations. And that Flextronics is beginning to make a move to wire up dead muscle. Greater Light, it's not about fear. It's being prepared. I got some in the name of Jesus scriptures that's going to go on the rest of the week. Okay? Armor up. Greater Light.